Silence your cell phones now.
What's going on, YouTube? It's Sensei, place to be. Children, Mr. A&D. Better to give you guys another movie experience here. This is the audio edition of the movie experience. As on the Nerdgasm Talk podcast, we gave a review of Woodstock 99, the new documentary on HBO Max. So it's me, Lady Sketch, Primetime, and Swag on Zero. So usually if you watch the movie experience, we're going to have certain audio videos like this as well. So I'm going to do a little introduction about it first, and then we'll give you a detailed, in-depth review of Woodstock 99. So I hope you guys enjoy. So if you guys are new here, we do movie reviews, documentary reviews, TV show reviews every single weekend right here on NC Studios. So make sure that subscribe button for every single weekend a new movie review. If you see a movie that you like, it'll probably be here being reviewed. And hit the like button that really helps with the video. So once again, sit back, relax as we take a deep dive into Woodstock 99. I'm NC, as NC a place to be. Children, Mr. A&D. Hey. And I'll see you at the movies. Sure, because I'll be happy to start with it and end with it. Because I know I did have something called Amend that I wanted to talk about, which is the only one I've saw. So I will end with that. But
okay.
To begin with, let's get the full out of the way. So, welcome to the movie experience, the audio version, right here from the Nerdgasm Talk podcast. And that's why I brought my main man Prime on here, because the other day, I love documentaries. 2018, I felt as though a documentary won the best film of the year, which was Won't You Be My Neighbor. So every year I watch documentaries, and for this year is a lot of music documentaries. So this one I watched the Summer of Soul, but my main man Prime was just like, "Yo, I need you to check out Woodstock 99." I was just like, "I don't really care about Woodstock, to be honest with you." He said, "No, check out Woodstock 99." And before he kept sending me clips about it, I was like, "This shit really didn't happen," but it did. So I go to HBO Max last night and I said, okay, I'm gonna sit down and watch it, because I watched the Fighter Fest, or excuse me, not AEW Fighter Fest, you know, the what's
Fire Fest.
The Fire Fest. And I was just like, well, I mean, Ja Rule don't fuck that up, so it can't be, you know, as that bad. Shit, was I wrong? Mm-hmm. There we go, and we got Woodstock 99. So Swag, come join this ride with us as we talk about and get into Woodstock 99. So obviously Woodstock 1969 was a big thing back then. They had, you know, a lot of rock music. It was about love, peace, and everything. It was a whole big dirty ass concert. Okay, mm-hmm. That's basically what it was. So in 1994 they decided to do this thing again, and it was like, okay, but you know what? Let's have it on the anniversary. Let's have it on 99. Mm-hmm. Let's tell you how they just moved aside from the peace, love, and all that stuff with the arts that they had before, and they just brought in the like, now that's what I call Music 99.
Oh.
Because they had everybody from Limp Bizkit to DMX to Korn to Metallica to Wyclef Jean. The Roots were there.
Jewel,
Sheryl Crow,
Ice Cube, Morissette.
What you say, Brian?
I said Ice Cube.
Ice Cube was there?
I missed that part.
I see when back when Puff Daddy was there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look up the lineup, because I didn't look up the lineup after I watched it, because I was just so disgusted with the whole thing.
Oh,
I was just like, just cut it off.
We also forgot who it started with, who the whole shebang started with.
Oh, this after all the people I just named, Sway, you know what kicked off with on Friday?
Who?
James Brown.
I'm only silent because I'm speechless.
Yo, if he had said that at that, say it loud. I'm curious what they would have said. Say it loud. I'm curious. I'm just so curious.
They would have said it, obviously.
They would have said, "I'm the hard ER." From what y'all saying.
We're getting there.
Wait, what? It goes there?
We're getting to that. So they
wait, I didn't even think George Clinton was there. Missed that
too.
I think some people did pull out though. I think George Clinton and Al Green pulled out.
Al Green shouldn't even thought about Woodstock.
No, it says
Well-
critics particularly praised performances by George Clinton. This is Wikipedia, so you never know.
Okay.
I guess.
George Clinton, Jamiroquai, Limp Bizkit, Insane Clown Posse, DMX, Sheryl Crow, and Rage Against the Machine are some of the people listed here. And
So, okay, now to keep this thing flowing, they're call people. So it's about 400,000 people showed up to this thing in Rome, New York.
mhm.
Okay, the mayor they was playing for this whole thing. Now, remind you, this Woodstock thing, Swag, it's a 3-day concert event, right?
Right.
And this just took place on a military base.
Yeah, which is like completely like what the fuck compared to the original Woodstock.
Yeah, 2 big stages. They had an east stage and they had a west stage on 2 opposite ends of this military base. And then, so you may sit there thinking like, okay, so what was it? If people come and go to a hotel? No, they camping out right there.
Mm-hmm.
They have a camp section. Now, along with this camping, you know, people go about there 3 days. It's hot. The temperatures was in the hundreds.
Okay.
Okay, it was burning hot out there. Now, once again, a lot of people at the beginning had complaints about the price of stuff. They were charging $4 a bottle for water.
This
Jeez.
was in 1999.
I know, right? I'm like that's hard now. I can't imagine
Yeah.
back then.
So-
Hey, it's either you get water or you die. So I'm getting water. I ain't trying to.
Exactly, because they chose drugs over water. Now, their security, which was called the Peace Patrol,
Stop.
Oh,
that's
went to a 3-hour class as the instructor was giving them the answers to the quiz and took the quiz and passed it, and that's all it took for you to become a security guard at this place.
With
Wow.
all these kids and all these drugs.
Are you following so far? Because see, it's like you got to build up to know like how this shit went wrong.
right.
So many things.
So many things. So obviously, so if people gonna sit there for 3 days, we got to worry about hygiene, right? They had all these porta potties that was there, and they had sections for showers.
Uh-huh.
You think? First of all, I was just like 400,000 people, and how are we gonna organize taking a shower, having shower kits? No, thank you.
Right.
So these young kids was coming in here. They was bringing in drugs, and security was like they would slide them something, and then they would just let them go by with all these drugs.
But if they tried to bring in water or food, they would take the water or food.
It's like, oh, you can have the drugs though.
But yeah, we'll take the water and food. So everybody out there is hot. They out there drinking. So then when who's the guy from MTV?
Carson
Which
Daly?
one?
Carson Daly.
Carson Daly. Yeah.
Which they showed this documentary they are no fan of.
they hate.
They did
MTV.
not like Carson Daly at all.
And it was just like he was hosting MTV. He's like, that's my little sister's MTV. So these angry white kids already came up with the joint angry. They was ready to come there, and they already felt this hostility on Friday.
Yeah.
So the Friday they showed James Brown there. James Brown came, did his shit, and left. Because that's what I would do too.
Yep.
The first biggest highlight is when DMX got up on there, right?
Uh-huh.
Christ.
This is the I be having this problem. So there we go. Which song did DMX start singing?
I can't remember.
This is where my dogs
honestly
at.
don't.
Oh, well,
Was it Where My Dog's At?
That's the song. No, not where. My.
My N-word.
you know what? Because
Yeah.
you know the podcast to explain this content. Go ahead, Prime. You can say the word.
Nah, I'm not breaking that law. I'm not doing it.
Not breaking the law.
Okay.
No, okay, so
Come on, we got a clean streak, so we might as well just keep it going.
So the issue was he's saying this, and there's a song. Well, I mean, there's a lot of DMX songs where he be just N-word heavy.
Yeah.
When I tell you they were shouting this back at him, and I want to say 99% of the concert goers were white.
Yeah, the pale people.
Yeah,
Let's just say
it's called For My
Imagine-
Dog, by the way.
DMX is up there. He rap. He get hot. He's sweating everything. And he's doing all his thing because DMX is very hot in 1999.
And
Yeah.
he was on fire.
And then
okay?
let's see this, and I was just like, okay. And then he up there, and he started egging them on. Imagine 300,000 white people shouting back,
shouting it
"My nigga."
back at you.
Now, as what I hate, because I've been to a concert where an artist has a song saying nigga and white people are in the crowd. What I hate is like when they be like, you guys can say it, come on, y'all can say, even my white people, say it with me, I'll give y'all a pass. It's like, who made you the judge? Who made you the judge? Like, you just handing out cards out here?
No, he didn't say that. He said it and put the mic out, and they was singing it back at him.
Oh.
Beat down. It wasn't just one, bro. They would say it's like 300,000. It's just a sea of people.
It was like it reverberated.
In this sea of like 300,000 people that we're seeing right now, you could probably count the amount of black folks you see on there.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there asking, can you imagine if you was in this concert and you're sitting there, you bring your friends along, and they just sitting there saying this joy? It's like, is this really okay?
And they're just like, it's fine, because we're singing the song. And I'm like, all right, so when we leave here, I'm finna punch you in your mouth.
You are outnumbered by the highest of extent.
That's why I said when we leave here, I'm finna punch you in your mouth.
I also like the black dude telling the story. He was like, I wonder how they're gonna really say this. And he said it was kind of like they was like crunching down and say, all right, are we gonna do this or not? And then they just did it. Okay.
And so DMX they threw the X up there. They was like, no, fuck it, we doing this. And then they went all in on saying this word. So when you watch the scene back, it kind of makes you uncomfortable a little bit.
It makes you cringe.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there just like, I'm like, DMX, you let me down.
And you had, but you had to know, like, that was Friday, that you see the energy there is palpable.
Right.
And we haven't gotten, that was in the daytime. We haven't gotten through the whole day of acts or onto the next 2 days of acts yet.
So meanwhile, as these acts are going on, these are the problems that we're experiencing on Friday. One of the ladies was just like, okay, the shower was getting clogged up. So the water in the shower was coming up to almost ankle to knee deep.
Which is disgusting.
That's gross.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Then they showed inside just one porta potty.
Uh-huh.
It's the shit of nightmares.
Someone missed.
Shit, and because everybody throwing trash in there also, they get backed up, right?
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, now before that happens, there's also like this little water fountain type thing.
Right.
Where
so you can refill your water bottles.
So you can refill your water bottle. Not these kids. There are people
they
that's showering with soap in the whole pool.
Yes, just showering, shampooing, brushing their teeth,
ass naked
in the pool where you're supposed to be refilling water. And this was the justification of the like concert, the planner.
Right.
Saying, oh, well, we had these fountains. You didn't have to buy a $4 bottle of water. And I was just like, when I tell you the theme of this documentary was delusional old white men, for sure. Like, the whole entire, I was like, y'all really thought that this was going to work and refused to take responsibility for any of the shit that went wrong.
You're right. Because we get to our morning press conferences yet.
Yes.
So somebody got frustrated and they bust the water line that was getting water to these pools. So now the water is spreading everywhere. It's turning everything wet.
Mm-hmm.
How do you?
I don't know. And then all of a sudden, they start jumping in because everyone's this whole mud fight, right?
Right.
Which they think is mud.
It's not.
But it's
not. No.
It's sewage.
That's what it's sewage from when the back up porta potties, and they jumping in this
and playing and throwing
it's
it
like,
and
y'all just don't
rolling
smell
around
it?
in it.
The cameraman is right there, and you just see pieces of it flying overhead like it's like a reenactment of the Civil War. Like, what's happening? They are throwing literal
shit.
Then you got some of the artists that come there like, why clip that come there?
All right. This is what I wanted to get to because he. All right. So if you guys don't know, the original one, Jimi Hendrix did the national anthem on his guitar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So Wyclef tried to do the same thing because the theme of this event is that the artist tried to do stuff from the original Woodstock, but the audience didn't even
And these
know because
kids
they
had no idea.
had no idea.
They didn't know who
So-
Jimi Hendrix was.
He tries to do the national anthem, and it's just, "Boo! Get off the stage!" Just throwing stuff out. It
All this
started
shit is
pelting
coming.
water bottles.
So then he tries to do the classic Jimi Hendrix, breaks the guitar and land on fire, which for some reason they could not get that guitar.
They could not get it to light.
on fire. And then when it did, the response was just nothing. Because they didn't care. Now, who else performed on Friday also?
I don't remember. I can go look it up because I did pull up the list.
What's the
So-
dude name? The dude that came out there, he was like, "Can y'all stop raping people, please?"
Okay.
Yes.
So probably, Sway, we get to the next one. So now we have a problem here because after everybody's dirty, there's no water, and it's starting to flood the campsite.
The Offspring. That was the lead singer of The Offspring came out and was like, "Can y'all stop being fucking pervs?"
Yeah, because they kept. So remember, in 1999, there was this thing called Girls Gone Wild that was very, very hot.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then there was just girls that was walking around there, just titties flop, okay, and getting spray paint stuff like that. So these men was just like, "Oh, we gonna have fun." Right?
That was free reign for them
So they started crowd surfing these women
and groping
and
them.
pulling their clothes off as their crowd. This is on camera, Swag. We're not even lying to you. Prime, am I lying?
No, they
They
showed
raping
somebody
these
lifting
women
people.
and-
Yeah, that was
These women and assaulting these women in front of everybody, and women who didn't even want nothing to do with this at all was getting pulled up for crowd surfing and getting their clothes ripped off,
Yeah.
or getting pulled in the mosh pit and just getting like assaulted by these guys.
Now, I gotta give a credit to them because I'm kind of like, I'm going through it as we're talking about it. I'm going like the parts by parts. The storytelling is phenomenal because they showed the dude was giving out these free candles for charity
Listen,
For
come
the
on with the
people
foreshadowing.
for
Yeah,
the people that they lost.
yo, Prime, when he was doing that, it was not a good idea. So there were these guys that were there, right? They had these candles because they were trying to have a memorial because a couple months ago we had Columbine, right?
Right.
Which was at that time the worst school shooting that we had. So they wanted to stop gun violence. So they was giving out these candles. Remember that for later.
Wow.
And that's just the first day.
And that's the first day. So here comes Saturday. So the pimp that part talk about my name is Kid.
Lord.
Came out like this chill. I was like, oh my god, this man Kid Rock was hot. I
He
can't
was,
stand Kid
I
Rock.
say, Kid Rock was
But the white.
at his peak at this time.
What you about to say, Brian?
No, I'm just laughing because he came out. I'm watching. He came out with this white pimp suit, like he was like from a urban movie or something.
Is it like because Kid Rock had to say like he was like the hip hop rocker.
Yes,
At
because
that
that
time.
was a thing. Like that, it was a lot. This was the very beginning of when hip hop started to present itself in a bunch of other genres. Like folks were taking elements of hip hop and throwing them in a bunch of different things. And like Moby said, because listen, I don't know if anybody listening knows who Moby is, but Moby be saying some slick shit. This is not the first interview I've ever seen with him where he just be getting people out of here, and it's hilarious.
So, I did not know who Moby was, but I kept thinking he was Steve from Blue's Clues. Because that's how he looks. He looks just like Steve.
That's
He
a
does.
comparison.
But I remember Moby from like when Moby was hot. So I was like, yeah, I wasn't surprised. This always been his wave. Like he just be like, what's wrong with y'all? And he was just like, everybody wanted to take hip hop elements and take just the worst of hip hop and disrespect hip hop and the artists and the people and didn't give a shit about anything else, but they took that like the part of it.
Right.
So here come Kid Rock. Because this was him talking about Kid Rock. Because Kid Rock was doing the same thing. And it's just like, it was the suck my dick and this, that, and the third. And now you see him now and it's fuck us.
Mm-hmm.
But you was big back then doing rock rap.
Right.
Like, bro, get the fuck out of here.
So he come and now he is like kind of like the starting point of getting this crowd angry.
Like amped
Yeah, because they're
and
getting
agitated.
they're jumping, and now, by the way, it's hot. They're taking drugs. There are people sleeping under these trucks just to get some kind of shade and passing out dead in the middle of the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they are dehydrated.
And I think this is the time we get like the first press conference of the
Yes.
Yeah.
So every morning, you know, the creators or the owners of this Woodstock, they was doing a press conference, and the one guy was like, "Dude, there is all this trash and shit that's out there. I could get a crew of 10 of my guys to go out there and clean this shit up out here. This is a mess." And the first thing he talk about is, "Don't you criticize? You come up with an answer. Don't you criticize? You go out there and fix the problem."
He
was
said he'll pay him. So,
And I was just like, okay, bro, automatically I see where the problem is going, because first of all, he's not acknowledging any of the problems, such as the food, the water, the pipe bursting, the urinals, or you know what I'm saying, or the porta potties being backed up and just going out, and then, you know, all out to the field, stuff like that, and going into this little tent city that they have right out there. This is unhealthy environments here.
Right.
And we still got 2 more days of this shit.
Like, I thought the whole part with DMX and everybody saying the N-word was going to be the part that made me irritated. It was the fact that these guys, even 20 years after the fact, still refuse to take accountability for anything that went wrong.
Right.
Like, he was during the, like, they had the clips from back then. He was just like, "Oh, everybody said they had a good time. For the most part, we had some incidents, but, you know, it was good." So he's, in today's day, he's like, "Well, they just said it wasn't that bad. They only said it was like 10 incidents of assault that happened, and you know, most people said they had a good time, and we didn't intentionally only put 3 women on the bill." All these people, if you look up the Woodstock lineup, there are tons of artists, and there were only 3 women for the entire show, and it was 1 woman a day.
Yeah.
Ah.
And then they asked Rosie Perez, you know, to show us your tits, Rosie Perez.
Yes, Rosie Perez comes out and they're just chanting, "Show us your tits,"
Wow.
at her.
loud.
That was Friday. That was Friday.
Louder than the DMX chant.
Exactly.
So,
Real quick though, like even if they get 3 women, it's like, yeah, that's bad. I'm like, they could have got 3 women to match the other artists to keep
Exactly.
the energy up. Because you can't go from like Kid Rock to Alanis Morissette and think that they gonna keep the energy up.
it's not.
Because that's what he was trying to say. He was like, "Well, we picked the women who we thought would have enough," what did he say, charisma or something like that,
I don't know.
to carry that. I said, why would you pick Jewel, Alanis Morissette, and Sheryl Crow? Like, what? That
All right.
more closely aligns to the original Woodstock than the people that y'all booked for this one.
Because here comes this.
All right, Swag, wait, Swag. I won't Swag to guess, all right? Because this is a run of 3. The crowd is already angry. This is a run of just angry music.
Right.
What 1999 or older artist or group or band would you think can excite a crowd like no other?
You put me on the spot.
We got time.
I personally probably say Pearl Jam.
Okay.
Wow.
Whoa, not Pearl Jam at all.
Okay, I was
count me down.
I was really into Pearl Jam, so like in my youth. So
Because this motherfucker kept Limp Bizkit comes up.
oh yeah, oh god, Limp Bizkit.
Going
Look,
like, bruh,
he
you thought it was bad before?
He walks up. This is the scary shit. When he walks on stage, right? Because after his bass player is coming out giving the finger, okay, he's pissing these people off. He's getting them already in. You see the crowd kind of like wave towards the front,
Right.
and I'm like, somebody's getting trampled because you just see them all running, and it's already packed. And Limp Bizkit comes out there, and he starts talking about, you know, well, you didn't want to wake up today. You pissed off at work. You pissed off at your boss.
He's amping them up.
Yeah, and he's amping them up to perform his song "Break Things."
And I just had to pause right here because they had a clip of Jewel talking today about it, and she was just like, the reason why this didn't work is because this generation of kids didn't really have anything to be upset about. They were all entitled kids who probably came from like middle class homes, because honestly, you had to have paid for this ticket somehow.
Yeah.
And there were some people there talking about how they really like worked at pizzerias and stuff like that, and they really couldn't afford all of that. But you have a lot of these kids who were there who didn't really have nothing to be mad about.
Right.
They was just there being angsty teenagers and angsty early 20-somethings. And it's just like, y'all have a reason to come here and act the fool. Because we'll get to the later in the documentary when all the crazy shit started popping off. And there was one of the kids who was just like, I didn't have any reason to be acting like this.
Yeah.
He did say that.
He did. He's like, how the fuck I was angry, bro. So he's there, and when I say sway, they start breaking
things. The
they
fucking
start breaking,
stage.
like the stage. They start breaking all stuff around it, and he's egging this shit on. They're taking out panels of wood, and they're putting them up, and people are standing on this wood as they're crowd surfing along the crowd.
And he's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Those people crowd surfing on the
my
plywood
God.
back there.
Okay, I will tell you right now. They cut the part that props. He showed me the full part. They had these guys, right, that they was just flinging in the air, like off like a trampoline type. They all had like a cloth. They was flinging them into the air, right? And you can see it having this. So they had this one guy close up, and they was flinging him up in the air. And he flung, and look, he fell on his head because he just dived. He fell into the crowd and disappeared. And Lip was just looking at him, was like, "Yo, that's some dope shit right there."
After
And
the
I
dude
was
fell on
like-
his neck.
I was like, yo, I hope that dude's, I don't know if that dude's okay or not, because they obviously they catch him, he fell right to the ground, broken collarbone or something. He got, and there was launching people, while people are sitting there with pieces of wood from the stage and the equipment from everywhere, and they really were starting to break all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the mosh pit, they had like it looked like these circles started forming.
Uh-huh.
And Swag, you know how these white kids go out there and they just start pushing and hitting each other like that's their form of dancing.
The mosh
Not
pit.
even dancing. That's just they be getting amped to music and doing that shit. I remember seeing that in college.
The
Like,
mosh
they
pits.
Real high, yes.
Yes.
Like it. Not even just in the mosh pit though. Like in the mosh pit, it was worse. But just around the grounds, like I have seen that shit at Temple. Like if they get amped enough, they start shoving each other and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like,
Hey,
what y'all doing?
why is this amping you for violence?
You are
The dude even
you
came
sitting
out.
there, you see all the stuff in a circle forming, and he is egging this shit on.
The dude even had to come out. The creator was like, "Hey, we're gonna need you to calm down."
Yeah, we need you like to tell these people to calm the fuck down and stop doing stuff. And
He said, "Fuck it."
you.
Wow.
No.
I just gotta take a second. These people that created the thing back then and now still hate Fred Durst. For the core.
They really hate Bull. They tried to blame him for everything. I was like, all of this was not his fault. The crowd getting amped and him egging them on, sure, but
see,
it's
they
not
was already
his
to that
fault.
point. Like I'm saying, they was already to that point. He just comes out and all he did was open the door. They just keep the door open because they started getting. When Kid Rock was out there,
Mm-hmm.
he was getting them amped too. So then we had Korn, right? Also after Limp Bizkit,
Right.
because it was Korn and Metallica, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Korn was out there, and their lead singer was like, yo, he just got eggs his music, but he passed out in the back from the heat.
Yes. He said, "Listen, it was so hot and so bad, I collapsed, and they had to put bags of ice on me. It was bad." I said, "Sir." I'd have been like, "It's not enough money in the
that's
world."
Just stage. Just imagine. Remember, it started to come nighttime, and then after that, there's Metallica, and was like the main event on Saturday.
Now this is when
No,
the shit.
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine. Okay, so Metallica was Sunday then.
No,
No.
it was the
That was
Korn, Rage
Saturday.
Against the Machine, and then Metallica.
And then Metallica. So yeah, he right. It was Limp Bizkit. It was Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
This is a weird ass lineup.
Yeah,
right
it
here.
is.
Kid Rock, Wyclef Jean, Counting Crows, Dave Matthews Band, Alanis Morissette, Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, and Metallica. Now, Rage Against the Machine, not much to say. We know who Rage Against the Machine is. If you've ever heard of them, you know what their music is. You know
Right.
what their vibe is. Cool. Now we get to Metallica, and I have to stop and say, at this point, during this, like as they're talking to people, we've been hearing somebody's journal.
Oh yeah.
Now, I was just like, even as we was leading up to it, I was like, this dude clearly does not like the colors. But for people who make the colored music. Because it was just like, his journal entries is all just like, yeah, this is cool. Jamiroquai was trash. Wyclef Jean, what did my mom say? If I didn't have anything nice to say, I won't say it at all. And I'm just like, okay. And then it was like, I'm just here to see Metallica. So we're hearing this up to this point. We get to Metallica. Shit apparently went nuts during Metallica's set, okay? This is when the woman was allegedly... I don't even know if you can say allegedly at this point because there's witnesses and shit. Yeah. But the woman was allegedly in the mosh pit. And there was somebody, I think this is the one where the woman they said was snatched down off the crowd surfing. Yeah. And they snatched her clothes off and her in the mosh pit. And then the guy whose journal it was, we find out he was in the mosh pit. And his homie was like, listen, this is not it for me. I do not want to be here. We gotta get out of here. And he was like, look, you can go. I'm going to stay because I came here for this. Because he was like, even the guy whose journal it was, even he was just like, this is a bit much, but I'm here, so.
Right. But however, the guy, his friend was just like, I'm cold. And it's like 100-some degrees out here. He's like, I think I'm getting
hypothermia.
Oh. I gotta get out of here. I gotta leave.
so he left. But his friend, unfortunately, wasn't so lucky. He ended up, they couldn't find him the next day, they said. And they all split up and was looking for him. And one of the friends found out that he had collapsed in the mosh pit. And they didn't treat him properly. And then he ended up dying.
Wow.
So I looked up so apparently, he collapsed in the mosh pit during the Metallica performance. They tried to treat his symptoms because he was having seizures, and so they thought he was having an overdose.
Right.
So they airlifted him to the hospital because I think the guy said that they did give him like some of the drugs to stamp you back from an overdose, but that's not what was wrong with him. So apparently, now we didn't know at the time what all happened. Says a little more than an hour after he had collapsed, his body temperature was 107 degrees.
Dang.
What? Like 107 degrees? That's insane. So they said the following afternoon, so I guess that time when they were looking for him, he was in a coma. And the doctor diagnosed him with hypothermia, probably secondary to heat stroke. And then after being in a coma for another day, he died on Monday. So he actually died after the festival was over. He was in a coma for the second and third day. And then his mom sued the promoters and the doctors that were working on site. Because the guy, like his friend that was there was like, they didn't have any of the right stuff. Like they didn't even take his temperature on the grounds because they didn't have thermometers.
Oh, wow.
They didn't know what was wrong with him. They just assumed it was a drug overdose. And he was like, ironically, none of us were on drugs. Like, we weren't even drinking because it was so fucking hot. Like, so it was just like none of them were drinking. None of them were on drugs. And y'all just assumed he had an overdose and that was that. And then he died. He was like 24.
Damn.
And I was just like, bro, what the fuck? I'm surprised. I mean, I'm sorry that this man passed away, but I'm surprised there were not more, like, casualties.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the only one that's like noted?
There was two, they said. It's documented two. Because one person was sleeping in a sleeping bag underneath a truck, and the truck ran over.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Why was he under a truck? Okay, never mind.
Well, because he was trying to stay... Some of the people were trying to stay cool. Like, that was one of the first things you see, like, in the trailer, is people laying under these big, giant tractor trailers because the ground under there is cool.
Or passed out and shit. Like,
or they're passed out because they're drunk. But yeah, they were under there trying to keep cool because it was so fucking hot.
So, but then when the sun came up, these white boys woke up and said, you know what? I'm angry and bored today. They started wrecking the place.
They did.
Kick it down. the boards that were painted that was like 2 miles long going around this whole military base. They kicked all that stuff down.
They did. They was breaking it. They was. They was
Their
just,
reasoning.
Oh, he said because I was bored, there's nothing else to do, and I was like, what? So they start breaking this up down. We still got the performances on Sunday, but then people walk around it, and then you hear people in the interview talk about stuff. We have to leave. There's some really dumb human beings around here, and then they was getting fed, but it's like, then we start seeing all these people on the ground lighting all these candles.
Before that, it's the MTV thing too, when it was like, hey guys, you might die, so y'all gotta leave.
oh
You know,
yeah. MTV told all they hosts, they was like, listen, we can't guarantee your safety,
You have to
so
leave.
run. You know that the TikTok where it just be like the music and all just be like run. That's the first thing I thought. Like they probably just like get the fuck out of Dodge, because they was like, we can't do nothing if you get hurt.
Right.
So just go. And I think that was another reason why the organizers were so intent on saying, MTV, they set this narrative so we couldn't get ahead of it in the first place, so everybody just assumed it was all bad. And I'm like, sir, there is actual video footage. It is a pay-per-view event. There's video footage of people groping women, women being snatched out of the crowds, people destroying property, people setting fires, people stealing. Like, there's video footage of this.
So then they will start pissed. They take these candles, swag, and they start setting
They
fire
start
to shit.
setting shit on fire.
Of course.
And then they opened the trucks, and then they started getting all the free free water out. They started doing all the they talking about some $4 for water is insane. Burn that shit. I was like, so you gonna burn
So
it?
you gonna like
Okay, sure.
Not
Y'all
drinking.
were undercutting. Y'all just undercutted this fire because it was like multiple fires, like big fires.
Yes.
Oh no, there was a ton of, and like one of them got like super big, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers was talking about how cool the fire looked from the stage. I guess not realizing that it wasn't like a bonfire. Like they was setting shit on
They
fire.
were setting shit on fire for this. Like, yo, we better about your clothes that gonna get out of here.
Like it was a mess.
Red Hot Chili Peppers was really on the stage naked, just
That was their thing.
Ball
Like
Johnson dancing and doing all that shit. I was
if
like,
you know the Red Hot Chili Peppers, that's
Right.
their thing.
Yeah.
Like, so
now when I see fire.
So they had set a bunch of fires, and then all of a sudden they start throwing the food from the vendors in the fires. They start stealing the like merchandise. They just start rioting. Like these people who were in it self-admitted that they were rioting.
And what makes it worse is whoever was on stage was performing a song called Fire.
Oh yes, because this is when they asked the Red Hot Chili Peppers to go out there. Like, listen, these fires are not supposed to be happening. Can y'all go out there and try and calm them down? And what was their answer?
No.
They was like,
Fire.
we gonna play Jimi Hendrix Fire.
Yeah.
I said, now part of me wants to be like, most of me is just like, what the fuck? A small part of me is just like, this is hilarious. Like,
Right.
because what? So at this point, they have to start shutting it down. Like, I think Megadeth came on. They were the last ones. But they were still trying to, like, get their, like, set out.
Uh-huh.
And they were out here destroying the whole entire place.
And
So-
it was coming to the stage.
So what happened? They called the riot police. And what do the riot police do? They come in their regular gear with some nightsticks and politely direct everyone out of the venue.
Wow.
Now,
The fucking riot police.
Swag, we have on this documentary white people saying, if this ain't white privilege, I don't know what is. If this is a hip hop concert in 2020, all I'm
It
saying
would
is
not have ended
it's
this
going
way.
to be a little bit different.
Yep.
These are
That's what
not
they
the
were
black
saying.
men interviewers. This is what the white people said. They talking about, like, this ain't privilege. I don't know what is.
They was just like, this is ridiculous, because these guys were able to get to this point, and then when they start actually destroying shit, we're just directing traffic to get everybody out. Not talking about the thousands of dollars of damage that they've done, not talking about the women that they've assaulted, and then they talked about at the end that a New York correctional officer a 15-year-old girl.
Wow.
I was like, yo, what? Like, bro, what? kind of world are we living in where this shit can happen and it's just another Sunday? Like, nobody went to jail.
None.
Nobody got arrested.
They had to put the women that got in the police cars to get them away from people.
Yes, like
that's what they had to do.
They had a security guard who was actually working security. This girl, he was like, all right, put her in this ambulance in the front seat. And they had the ambulance guy got out with no shirt on. And I guess he was looking at him kind of weird at first. And then another lady came with a blanket and took her into the medical tent. And he was like, bro, what's going on? And he was just like, they're savages. These people had ripped all her clothes off. And he had to give her his shirt so that she would have some clothes until the lady from the medical tent could come and get her. Because I think that is the girl who got that they were talking about. Because he said she was a young girl. This is the part where I checked out with the organizers. Dude was like, well, we didn't tell them. Basically, he was just like, we didn't tell y'all to come in here and take your clothes off. So if you was walking around topless and something happened to you, it's your fault. I was like, bruh, somebody, anybody.
That's not how it works.
Call Mike Tyson. I want him to come and punch this man in his face. Like, I something. I was just like, I think I actually said while we was watching it, I said, you're old. When you die, I hope somebody come and piss on your grave. I was big mad. I was just like, that's not it at all. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Because the one girl was like, this is like very indicative of the boomers. Why did y'all feel like we needed a Woodstock? Y'all had Woodstock, that was y'all's thing. This was not something that this generation needed at all, as evidenced by what happened.
Exactly. So, before we get any more, I just want to move on. I want y'all final grade. Prime time, which y'all give it not.
I was gonna say, don't confuse the documentary with the grade of what happened, because that's gonna be
how well the documentary was made.
Oh, the documentary was fantastic. Oh, nah, hey, it was great. You know, it was stuff happening. Yeah. Very insightful. Almost borderline. It's not funny, but there's like moments in there where it's like, you gotta laugh at it.
What'd you give it?
I would give it, I was gonna say B+, but I think I'd give it an A. The documentary itself was good. The event itself was trash.
Yeah, I'm not giving Woodstock 99 an A by no means, but the documentary was complete nerdgasm.
Gotcha.
It was one of the best documentaries this year.